Hey, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it might be, wherever you are. Jerry Upchurch here from Atlanta, Georgia, northeast Atlanta, Georgia. Anyway, Dacula, Georgia is where it actually is. And I'm out at the park again, and the soccer fields and the dog parks and all of these great places. But just wanted to tell you something today. Just want to talk about habits. And to start it off, I guess I should be talking about robots. So I want to talk about robots. To start it off, years ago I came across a poem, and I think it was in Seeds of Greatness, a book by Dennis Waitley, one of the first motivational books I had read. But in there was a poem on robots that I thought was just fabulous. So I memorized it years ago, and I came across it the other day, and I wanted to just go over it with you. And it says, the title of it is The Robot, and of course you'll know what the robot is when I get through with it, but it says, I have a little robot that goes around with me. I tell him what I'm thinking, I tell him what I see. At first my little robot followed my command, but after years of training he's gotten out of hand. He doesn't care what's right or wrong or what is false or true. No matter what I try now, he tells me what to do. Think about that. No matter what I try now, he tells me what to do. And that relates to habits. You know, we've heard it takes 21 days to make a habit. And sometimes habits are formed a lot quicker than that, sometimes a lot longer. But habits are good or habits are bad. You can tell if it's good by the good results you get, or you can tell it's bad by the bad results you get. So think about your habits and whether they're good or bad, producing for you or not producing. So I've got one habit. Diane gets frustrated with me. I love reading, and when I read, I cannot read without a pen in my hand. So when I start reading, I see something I like, I put a mark underline it. And I even do that if I'm on a treadmill, and she gets so frustrated with me because I'll put a line under a sentence on the treadmill, and the line's just going wiggly, 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 and it goes through the writing and all that sort of stuff. So she says, I get so frustrated when I can't read the book that I want to read because of all your writings and underlining and marking and highlighting and all your notes on the side of the page and all that sort of stuff. So we end up having to buy two books, one for her and one for me. But that's a habit I have. I love the habit. I think it produces good results for me, so I like having it, and I'm going to continue doing that. And it's worth another book to get that done. So think about your habits and think about whether they're good habits or bad habits, things that you want to keep doing or things that you don't want to do. And with that, I say, at first my little robots followed my commands, but after years of training, it's gotten out of hand. So I cannot read a book now without a pen in my hand. If I don't have a pen in my hand, I go put the book down until I find a pen so I can underline. So it really has gotten out of hand. And again, it takes 21 days to form a habit on average. That's what people say in all their motivational speeches, 21 days. So once you do that, you form that habit, then it gets to the point after years and years of training, it gets out of hand and you can't stop doing what you want to do. And so that's what I want to encourage you to do today. Is I also have another habit that I'm really into that I probably shouldn't be into, is every night about 11 o'clock I start a grazing habit. And many of you probably know what I'm talking about here. You just sort of walk into the kitchen and you say, oh, what's in here to eat? And if something good in the form of good for you doesn't jump out at me immediately, I will go to the freezer and get a little bowl of ice cream, which is not good or not bad, but it just depends on the quantity. And my problem is I tend to have a little bigger quantity than I should. But again, I want to encourage you to think about your habits. And again, when I say habits, I don't want you to try to break a habit. You know, we tend to want to break a habit that's bad and take on a habit that's good. But it's very difficult to break a habit, to stop something that you've started doing and you've done it over and over and over. So what I want to encourage you to do is use diversion. I was talking to my granddaughter the other day, and she probably doesn't want this published so her dad can see it, but she says, "Oh, I know how to handle my dad. When there's something that he's on that he gets frustrated with, I can change the subject real quickly and get it onto something that he really likes to talk about, and boom, he's off on another tangent, and we just forget about whatever it was that he was arguing and fussing at me about." So take that as a grain of salt and learn something from that. But what we want to do is teach you to use diversion rather than negative things to try to break a habit. Use diversion. Always start a habit that will replace the bad habit that you've got. So instead of going into the kitchen at night at 11 o'clock, I'll go into the office and fire up my blogging system and put down a few words on a blog that I'm going to continue working on the next morning. So that does cause a diversion. I haven't been doing it long enough yet that it has become a habit, but I am diverting to that new habit as opposed to the going into the kitchen and grazing. So read my blog below. I've put a lot more into the blog on habits, and just think about it and see what habits you have that you want to divert from a negative habit that's not producing into a positive habit that is producing. Read the blog below and give me some comments. What are your habits now? What are you trying to get away from? What are you trying to go to in your habit making? And let me know. You'll encourage me in what you're telling me. Hey, have a great evening.